Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Avram. I'm a BDO console player. I have been playing for 2 years. So before we start, just would like to thank you all for your feedback about my previous crate trading video. I've done some improvements in this video. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. Okay, today's topic is about fishing. So fishing is a popular AFK activity in the game. If you are newer players, you probably have already noticed some spots with a group of people. They're standing together and doing fishing. You might be wondering if you should be one of them or you have much better options. This video might be a bit long because I want to give you an in-depth thinking. After this video, you will get a pretty good idea of whether fishing is worth in terms of money per hour. If you like my video, please also help me by clicking the like and subscribe button and leave your comments down below. Thank you very much. Alright, the first step I'm going to do is giving you a reference point in terms of money per hour, because money per hour is a relative concept. So in essence, what you really want to know is not the exact number, but how good or bad fishing is comparing to other activities. So now you may have a question, what are other comparable activities? The answer may be different, depends on in what angle you are looking at this question. But I'll just try to give you my answer. So I think AFK grain processing and horse training are the two comparable activities because they're highly AFK and their markets are quite stable without much fluctuations. So in this video, I'm not going to explore horse training in details, as I'm planning on it for a separate video. Just in short, horse training is a long-time AFK activity, which can last about 15 hours easily, and the price of Tier 8 horse is preset by the game system, without market fluctuations. At the same time, the demand for Tier 8 horse is very high, so you can notice there is 0 Tier 8 horse on the market at the moment. So I'd say horse training can be a very good reference point to give you a value of your AFK time. Now let's take a look at grain processing. For example, from wheat to wheat flour. The reason I pick grain processing is because first, grain is light in weight. Depends on your processing mastery and inventory weight limits. It usually can last around 1 hour AFK time continuously for many players. Second, grain has a very stable and liquid market. The daily trading volume of grain flour is the highest in BDO console processing market. So you can see the market fluctuations for grain and grain flour are very short comparing to other markets. So even if you are listing grain or grain flours at the maximum price, there is a pretty good chance they will be sold within 24 hours. Thus, I'm confident to say that the money per hour for grain processing is stable. At a certain processing mastery, you have a fixed money per hour, no matter you are doing it now or 3 months ago. For my example, I'm at 1100 processing mastery with Logia set, and I have about 1800 spare weight. If I produce all grains from my nodes and process them into flour for my future cooking, I'm looking at around 30 million per hour for my 1 hour AFK time. So now we get some basic reference points for money per hour. For my example, I'm using 30 million per hour. If your mastery is lower for processing, you're probably looking at, depends on your mastery really, 7 to 15 millions. That's for newer players. And for mid-tier players, probably 20 to 30 millions. But eventually depends on waste capacity. You will have until you stop processing because of the weight limits. For one-time AFK grain processing, the total value you're looking at is 30 millions for the whole process. Now I just quickly go over some basics about fishing. Fishing is an AFK activity and it's pretty simple. But the first thing you want to pay attention to is to get right spots. So currently you can see on my mini map I'm in Villa, but if I walk just to the left for a few steps, I'll be in Villa Beach. So these two spots will give totally different RNG results for your fishing. So your fishing revenue will be different because of the location choice. So I highly suggest you to fish in Villa Beach if you would like to fish around Villa. This is not the best place, but if you choose to fish here, just walk left for a few steps and fish in Villa Beach. And the fishing set I'm using is silver embroidered fishing clothes, which gives me +2 fishing ability. And I'm using Lokia set because I think fishing mastery is not a big deal. And for the fishing rod, I'm using Bandos fishing rod +10 because it gives me 25% AFK fishing time reduction. You can also use the equipment tailoring coupon to tailor a professional fishing clothes to the pearl item to use in a pearl clothes. To do fishing, what you can do is just equip your fishing rod and stand close to any water, and then throw your fishing rod into the water. Your fishing will start. You will have some choices to keep or discard a certain grade of fish. For example, if I choose blue grade, and then all the fish I get at green and blue level, it will be automatically discarded without going into your backpack to fill your or take your backpack space, because your backpack space is limited and you don't want it to be filled by cheap fish like green grade fish, because once your backpack is full, you won't be able to continue fishing, and then basically your total income will stop at that point. So you always want to keep your backpack full of high value fish and the ancient relic crystal shard, which is the main item we're trying to get from fishing. You can also consume energy to boost the chance of getting higher grade fish. You're holding down the button to consume energy and to throw your fishing rods further away from you, and then by this animation it will give you a higher chance of catching prize fish and ancient relic crystal shards, but the chance won't be very significant. You probably won't notice a big difference, but if you have spare energy, you just want to use them, that's a great way to increase your money per hour a little bit. Also, you'll notice there is a fish icon on the screen. Beside it, there is a text saying not enough. So this means the water has been fully contested, so a lot of people fishing around this spot, which has reduced the amount of fish. Basically means it increases the time of getting the fish up after throwing the fishing rod. So if you do this AFK, standing here fish, which means it will prolong the process of one fishing cycle, and as a result, you will reduce the money per hour, because if you can do 20 fishing cycle in another spot, but here you can only do 10 cycle, and then if the RNG results are similar for these two spots, basically your money per hour is halved in these not enough spots. What you really want to see is a blue fish icon with a text saying sufficient. Once you feel the bite of the fish, you can press the button on your console to start the fishing mini game. Once the mini game is completed, you will get a fish into your backpack. And then you have to manually restart the fishing process to throw the rod into the water again, and then wait for the next cycle. Alternative, what you can do is instead of playing manually for the mini game, you can just leave it over there, and after 3 minutes, you will restart the fishing cycle again automatically by the system. If you equip those fishing rods, the auto fishing time will be also reduced by another 25%. To fish for a long time, you also need item brand Spellstone. It can be purchased as a pearl item, or it can be given as a gift by some special events in the game. With the increase of your fishing level and item brand Spellstone, it can reduce the durability consumption of your fishing rod, so you can fish for a longer time. So now I have a choice to press the button to start the fishing mini game to active fish, but that's not something I want. I just want to give you a overlook of AFK fishing. I just wait until the time passed, then the system will automatically restart the fishing cycle for me for the next time. So now you have seen I've already finished the first fishing cycle automatically, and I'm in the second fishing cycle. Probably I would say each cycle it cost me around 3 minutes, and around 1 hour probably I can get like 18 to 20 cycle. It's kind of like an automatically lucky draw the game offers to you. So every hour you have 18 to 20 chance to get a lucky draw, and the lucky draw results will depends on the location you choose, whether you fish in a good RNG result location or a bad RNG result location. And sometimes you're unlucky, you just draw the green fish and the value is just a few thousands, but sometimes you're lucky you draw a ancient relic crystal shard, the market price around like 1 million, and then basically you get the big profit from over there from the big lucky draws ancient relic crystal shard. However, the ancient relic crystal shard market is not really that stable. It can sometimes fluctuate in my experience from maybe 600k to about 1.8 million. So it really fluctuates, depends on the events and people's preference of activities, or if there are other choices. So now you've already got a basic idea of how to do fishing. Let's talk about money per hour. Previously, we have already established a standard of the money per hour for 1 hour AFK by processing grain. If you are cooking or go dining out personally and you do AFK activity in the game, after 1 hour you come back, if you do grain processing, you probably get 30 million from this 1 hour AFK time. And let's see whether fishing can beat processing above 30 million per hour. Before we show you any testing results, let's just think in general. Saying even at Benelux fishing rods, you probably are looking at a AFK fishing time for 2.225 minutes per cycle, plus the waiting time until you hook up the fish. I would say in total the process at least it will take 3 minutes, at least around 3 minutes. So 20 fishing cycle is a good estimate of the maximum fishing lucky draw you can have each hour. And to my experience, even if you get 20 ancient relic crystal shards per hour, that's the maximum you can get. If each ancient relic crystal shard sells on the market at 1.5 million, which is an average or is a good price, you probably will just get 30 million for 1 hour AFK. So this simply concludes if without any other fishing events and you just be AFK for 1 hour, there's no way fishing can beat AFK grain processing. So We don't talk about other processing. Other processing can be even more profitable. We just talk about very basic and very liquid market, grain processing market at already very low revenue or profits in terms of processing. It can still not beat AFK processing. To further increase your money per hour from fishing, you can consider to take guild mission at a time you do AFK fishing. So guild mission, once you complete it, you will get half of the guild mission rewards. Sometimes it can last like 15 million, sometimes 20 million, 30 million, depends. But that's extra income. However, what I would say is you probably won't be the guild mission won't be very easy to complete just purely by AFK. You probably can only complete some small mission by AFK. As I said, if the guild mission requests you to catch some bluefish and within maybe 90 minutes or like even 2 hours, the maximum fishing lucky draw you can try is maximum 20 times an hour. So at a given certainty, or if you don't fish at some special spots with plenty of bluefish or green gray fish, so I would say the chance to complete this mission in time is not very high just purely by AFK. So this is something you can consider to increase your money per hour. But even with this money, if we successfully completed a small guild mission, probably the income would be maybe 7, 8, or even 10 million at maximum for 1 hour as extra income related to fishing. And if you can only get realistically, you probably get 1 to 2 ancient relic crystal shard. That's to my experience. So you're probably still looking at a money per hour below 30 million. Another extra bonus fishing can have is a special event. So sometimes there are special events given extra bonus, like bonus item from fishing. It can be an item tradable or exchangeable to enhancing items like sharp crystal shards or hard crystal shards. So those things can just, if you sell to the market, that can increase your money per hour eventually. But to my experience also, the chance of getting those items are pretty low, much lower than ancient relic crystal shards. So if you can only get 2 ancient relic crystal shards or 3 even per hour, I would say even if you're lucky, you get 1 of these items per hour. That could be already very lucky, and on average should be around 1 or even below 1. Okay, so to conclude, my point is, if you just going to get the maximum value of your AFK time just for 1 hour, so do AFK processing because it offers higher return than fishing. However, as I said, AFK processing is limited by your weight capacity. So if you do AFK processing, probably at higher mastery, you probably can only last maybe 1 hour or 15 minutes, 45 minutes, and then it has to stop because of the weight. But if you are away from the console for maybe 8 hours, or you go to work maybe 10 hours and travel until you can come back to attend to the game, you probably only utilize the 45 minutes to 1 hour of this 10-hour AFK time. So the total amount, even if you have a higher money per hour, but the total money return of your AFK time is not significant, is not good. It's just 45 or 1 minute, 1 hour for 30 million. So that's the total return. Instead, if you're looking at fishing, so even the money per hour return is limited, like for example 10 million, I would say 10 million an hour, or maybe even lower, maybe 5 million an hour. If you've been AFK 10 hours, you're looking at 50 million reward for your total AFK time. So it actually betters you off comparing to AFK processing. So AFK processing is only good for a short AFK time or AFK duration, but in the long run, 10 hours AFK, even 20 hours AFK fishing provides a better results. Plus, with fishing events, it can give an even better reward. Now you're looking at the best fishing spot, which is in Heidel. Currently, I am facing this direction because this spot can be a fishing hotspot. Fishing hotstop is a random event at a given certain spot. So this spot can sometimes turn into a special spot. With this float, you can see the location of the float. So you have to face this direction and throw your rod into and locate your float just right there. And it will increase the chance once it becomes a hotspot, you will always get a yellow grade fish instead of like blue or green grades. But also it reduces the chance to get the ancient relic crystal shard because you always get a yellow grade fish. But overall, because the chance of ancient relic crystal shard is relatively low, instead of just getting blue or green grade fish, you can, getting yellow grade fish will generally boost your money per hour at a hot spot. So this is just some mini or unique traits of this fishing spot in Heidel. There are two main reasons why Heidel is the best spot, in my opinion. The first one is because it offers is relatively high drop rate for ancient relic crystal shard. To my experience, for overnight fishing about 7 to 8 hours, you can get around 9 to 12 ancient relic crystal shards. So that's a pretty good drop rate compared to Vela Beach. So Vela Beach can give you a higher drop rate of red grade fish, which are fishes worth about like maybe 5 to 7, even 8 to 10 millions. So those red grade drop rates is higher in Vela Beach compared to Heidel. But if you add up the total value of the fish and shard, ancient relic crystal shard, then Heidel is a clear winner than Vela Beach. And also just that, Heidel also can have a red grade fish, which worth, I remember, it's 8 or 10 million. So it's very high value grade fish, and is pretty rare. Probably maybe one drop out of 20 hours to my experience. So it's quite a rare fish, but will give you a decent reward. Another reason I say Heidel is the best fishing spot is because it offers a great convenience. For example, if you probably have heard like Tooth Fairy Cabin near Guana, it drops a very good rate for ancient relic crystal shard as well. But most of my day, like even for most players, you will stay in Heidel or visit Heidel more often than other cities. That's to my experience. And if you have to travel from this Heidel or area around Heidel to the ferry cabin just for fishing, I have to add the cost of the travel back and forth to the cost of fishing. If you use 30 million per hour as the value of your AFK time, then that equals to 500k a minute. So the total travel time, like 20 minutes, that equals to 10 million already as the opportunity cost, then basically you have to get probably more 10 around 10 more of the ancient relic crystal shard to compensate the value of time loss. So if you just do overnight fishing over there, I would say it's impossible to get 10 more ancient crystal shards than Haydale. So unless you're doing activities around Grana or around Tooth Fairy Cabin, I don't suggest you to set up your fishing over there. So now you can see this is a typical result of Haydale overnight fishing. So I probably spent 7 hours or 7 to 8 hours. So the result is 8 yellow grade fish. I value each of them as around 300k each, because if you trade to the Imperial fishing vendor, you probably get 250k plus a Imperial fishing delivery metal, and then you can use it to sell the dream horse material. So in total, I just value for simplicity 300k each. So in total for the yellow grey fish is 2.4 million around, and I got 6 event items. So probably if one item worth 1.6 million for enhancing materials, so in total is around 10 million, like 9.6 million. And then I got 10 relic crystal shards, so that is 16 million around. In total, I'm looking at a total revenue around 28 million to 30 million. So that's the result of overnight fishing in Haydale. Not very bad compared to grain processing, but let's remember this is only 7 hours. So if I do another 7 hours, the profit will be better than grain processing. So now what you're looking is a different fishing event result. I did for 20 hours AFK. So this event gives a golden trash item from fishing. So each item values around 5 million to or 10 million. So there are 2 different results basically. So either it's 5 million or 10 million. So these are high value trash item or high value money return item. I just want to see whether this event will significantly boost my money per hour for fishing. So I did this for 20 hours. You can see the result. So I'm going to place this 10 ancient relic crystal shards into the central market, and we use the central market price to see the total revenue of this thing is 17 million around, and then we can see how much the yellow grade fish worth, and then we'll just sell all the trash items to see the total ones in my inventory, because I've already emptied my backpack for you to see the results more easily. So you see, once I sold all the event trash loot, fishing trash loot, and all the yellow grey fish, I got 42 million cash in my backpack, plus the 10 ancient relic crystal shards we previously in the central market at 17 million, plus after tax I would say like 15 to 16 million, and then plus the value of Imperial fishing delivery seal, I'm looking at the profit of 60 million around for 20 hours AFK fishing during this special event. So I think this testing result is very interesting, because first I get the lower amount of ancient red crystal shard than I expected, because you can see previously I did 7 hours and I get almost 10 ancient red crystal shard, but now I did 20 hours but I still get 10. But instead, interesting thing is I also received the event trash loot of the golden trash loot. So I sold in total of 20 million from just the trash loot. So that's actually is even higher than the ancient red crystal shard from this testing result. I would say this event has significantly changed or boosted the value of fishing activity, but overall, with an average RNG, I would say probably if you do a 20 hours testing, probably you're looking at somewhere between maybe 60 million to even up to 80 million per hour, in total. So that's for 20 hours. Although the money per hour for fishing is still very low, but if you do for long hours, the total revenue you'll receive is still okay, like 60 millions or even above with special events. Without the special events, it will be much lower, maybe halved. So if you do fishing, I recommend you with events. But that's not the whole story. We have to compare the short AFK processing for 1 hour with fishing. I want to give you another comparable thinking is overnight cooking. So overnight cooking is also a AFK activity, can last for, depends on your weight limits and your mastery level, it can last for like 4 to 6 or even 8 hours. The recipe for overnight cooking is dressing and wrestles. And interesting thing is these two recipes are not limited by your weight, mainly it's limited by the cooking utensils durability. With the Supreme cooking utensil, you can, to my experience, maximally do 20,000 batch for overnight cooking. Other than that, your cooking utensil will be used up. So for a cooking utensil for 20k batch cooking, you probably are looking at a profit of 80 million to like 88 million. Also depends on the market condition of wrestles, especially dressing is always sold most of the time sold at the maximum price, but wrestles can fluctuate the profitability. But it still gives a very good reference point for overnight activity, saying even if you are doing the fishing and get 80 million for like 20 hours, but if I only spend 7 hours, 8 hours, really depends on your cooking mastery, but you can still get 80 million in return, as well as the CP cooking, CP item, and cooking experience. What do you think about fishing then at that time? Just to give you one more perspective to look at fishing is another processing for cheese. So cheese processing, mainly you have to use milk to turn into cheese, but the weight of cheese is very low as well as milk. So if you do AFK processing, for cheese processing, it can last for a long time as well. It's kind of overnight activity as long as you have enough milk. And this activity is highly profitable, depends on your mastery. Just for a rough calculation, if I do at my mastery of 1100, if I do 7 hours cheese AFK processing, which is to my maximum weight limit, then probably I'm looking at a profit of 600 million above. So that's for the profit. And each hour I'm looking at probably around 80 million return. So that's 1 hour for 80 million return. But fishing, you're looking at 80 million for 20 hours. So this gives another perspective that fishing is not always better in long hour activity. And if you have materials or if you have other options, it can be better than fishing, even for longer hours. With that being said, it comes to the end of this video. What I think, BDO is a complex game system and a lot of activities they are linking together, and it has synergy. So there is no definitive answer of right or wrong, or this is bad or good. It really depends on your lifestyle or what you want in this game. So if you enjoy fishing and you like the convenience, you can fish anywhere, anytime, then go for it. Fishing is not bad for long-term AFK. But if you're looking for something else, you have materials and you're planning for boost your mastery in a certain profession or activity, and then basically you can go something else. Or even if you do cooking at a low profits activity at an even lower mastery level, but with the time pass, it will increase your CP gradually, and then you can use the CP to invest in more profitable activities in the future. So it's not always a win or lose in a short run, but overall you have to enjoy the game, and I'll see you in the next time.